In this video, we're going to look at backing up the Mac with Time Machine. And Time Machine is the built-in utility with macOS that automatically backs up all of your files in the background without you having to really consciously think about it. Once you've set up a disk, that's pretty much it. It'll do the whole lot for you as long as that disk is connected. And we'll explain the way that that works in a bit more detail soon. The first thing I want to start with is by making the Time Machine icon appear in the menu bar here. And this is something that Apple turned off by default in the later versions of macOS for some reason. But it's quite handy to have the Time Machine icon up here, because then you can see the progress of what Time Machine is doing when it's backing up, and also for quick access when you want to get to its preferences. So to start with, let's go to the Apple menu and choose System Preferences. Then look for the Time Machine icon. You can also search for it here if you want. Then, there's an option at the bottom here, Show Time Machine in Menu Bar. Tick this box and you'll see a little clock icon appear in the menu bar. This will show you progress as mentioned before when Time Machine is backing up, and you can also open the preferences quickly from here, like so. When it comes to backing up the Mac, there are a few options. You can either buy an external hard drive that you would plug in manually via USB or USB-C, FireWire, etc. You could look at buying an Apple Time Capsule, which is a wirelessly attached network disk. Or if you have something like a NAS already, you could use that as well. And of course you can also back up to multiple locations simultaneously if you want. So let's say I had an Apple Time Capsule and I also had an external hard drive, and I want to create backups on both of those. I can set up the Time Capsule, which will automatically connect to my Wi-Fi disk and back up without me having to do anything. And then if I want to also back up to an external hard drive every now and then, I can plug that in and it would also update that backup. First, ensure that you've got the backup disk or disks connected to your Mac somehow, either wirelessly or physically to the machine. Then choose Select Backup Disk. This will show you a list of available disks that you can back up to, including an option to set up an airport time capsule if you have that. I already have an internal backup drive here, so I can use that if I want. I could also use an external hard drive, this 5TB Western Digital. Now we can use multiple disks, but we can't select multiple disks initially, so I'll show you how to select another disk in conjunction with the first disk in a moment. One thing to note is this Encrypt Backups option down the bottom, which I would recommend enabling. This means that if someone obtained your backup disk, they won't be able to access the contents of it unless they know the password to decrypt the drive. So it just adds a bit more security to your backup. In this case, I'm going to choose my internal backup drive and click Use Disk. Now, if I wanted to select another disk, for example, I could also come back to the same menu by choosing Select Disk here and choose the other drive that I want. Time Machine's going to ask me, do you want to use both of these disks or do you want to just replace the other disk with the new disk? So if I wanted to back up to both, I could just say use both. In this case, I'm fine just having one singular backup. Time Machine is going to do a full backup of my Mac, and this is going to contain literally everything from applications to my personal information, like photos, documents, etc., even down to the last preference that I've chosen on macOS. So you'll see this preparing backup, and then it will give you a progress bar of how the initial backup is going. Now, as you can see, I've previously used this backup disk, so I don't have much to add to my backup drive. But once Time Machine has finished its full backup, it's going to check hourly to see if there's any files on the computer that have changed and need to be backed up. If nothing's changed, then nothing needs to get backed up, because there's no point in backing up the exact same file, taking up useless space on an external hard drive, for example. So Time Machine is really smart about what it needs to back up. And it gives you that summary here. Time Machine keeps hourly backups for the past 24 hours, daily backups for the past month, and weekly backups for all previous months. Once your backup drive is full, it will start deleting the oldest backups. So the larger your backup drive, the more incremental backups you can have, going back further in time. I would recommend a backup drive that's at least double in space to what your Mac has available. This way, you'll have a lot of incremental backups in case you need to go back somewhere. So now that my backup's complete, you can see that in the next hour, it's going to check for the next backup. I've set up an example of how Time Machine's incremental backups work, and how you can restore files if you need to go back in time. On the desktop here, I've created this testing123 text edit document. If I open this up, I basically just put the words testing123 in the document. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add to this document. So now we have testing123 4567889. Nothing spectacular. I'm going to go ahead and quit text edit. Now I'm going to choose the clock icon from the menu bar and choose backup now. This will force a Time Machine backup if I ever want to do so. Otherwise, it would just go ahead and check in the next hour, and it would notice that I've made changes to this file, and I've actually added 456789. So in this case, this file would be backed up incrementally to my backup drive. So I'm going to force it here. And it's going to prepare, it's going to check the system out to see what's changed. And you can see there's 30.9 meg of data that's changed. Now that's not just the text edit document, that's other things that are going on my system, such as this screen recording. And that's completed like so. So let's say I want to revert to a previous version of that document or restore a deleted copy of it. I just need to browse to the location where that file is. In my case, it's on the desktop, so I'm already here. And then choose the clock at the top and enter Time Machine. If the file was somewhere else, for example, let's say it was in Documents, I would open up a Finder window and choose Documents. And then choose the clock and enter Time Machine. And this will show me the relevant files for that location. And I get a timeline on the right hand side here showing me the incremental backups, their date, and the time. So in my case, our testing123 document is on the desktop. So I'm going to go into the desktop here, and I'm going to go back to 10:13 PM, which is the time before I added 456789. I can click on this document and press space to preview it, and you can see that this is the original document, testing123, without the 456789. So then I can choose Restore. And what this is going to do is it's going to replace the file that's already there, if I choose so, or I could keep both, or actually just keep the original and not do anything. In this case, I'm going to replace it. And then you can see now when we open the document, it's back to testing123. Now, what I can also do is let's add a bunch of stuff to this. Let's say I copy this line a bunch of times and save that. Time Machine would back that up in the next hour, but I'm going to force it here again. And now that that's complete, what I'm actually going to do this time is delete the file entirely. And into the trash. Now let's say a couple of weeks down the line I realized that I deleted that file that I really needed. I can again go to the location where that file was. So in our example, I'm already on the desktop here, but if it was somewhere else like Documents, I would open a Finder window and browse to that location. And then choose the clock at the top, enter Time Machine. So as you can see, this is right now, and you can see there's nothing on the desktop. If I go one backup back to 10:29 PM, you'll see there's my testing123 document. I can preview that, and it's the testing123 with 4 lines. If I go back to 10:13 PM again, I'll see that original document with testing123 in a single line. If I go to 10:18 PM, I can see testing123 with 456789. So as you can see, these are all incremental backups of that file as I've made the changes. And if I wasn't actually making any changes to this file, then Time Machine wouldn't need to back it up because there would be no point, as I mentioned before. So once I find the revision of the file that I want in the location that I want, in this case I'll choose the latest one from 10:29, I can just choose the file and click Restore. And it's really that easy. There's the file back in place with the 4 lines testing123. And I can continue work without the headache. So By setting up Time Machine, particularly even with a wireless disk, your Mac is going to back itself up automatically without you having to think about anything. So if you have a hardware failure or your Mac gets lost or damaged in some way, then you have the peace of mind that you can always restore this information to another Mac or to a Mac that's been repaired very, very easily. And not only can you restore individual files like I've demonstrated today, you can also restore from complete backups from a recovery partition, or you can migrate to a new Mac. Let's say you buy a new Mac and it will ask you whether or not you already have an existing Time Machine backup. You could say yes, and then it would restore all the files from your previous or your older Mac to your new Mac, just like that. And this also works in Migration Assistant. So thanks for checking out this video on how to back up the Mac with Time Machine. There are many other more manual methods to back up the Mac, but we're just covering the basics of how to use the automated system Time Machine in macOS here today. And I'm sure in more advanced videos we'll look at further ways to back up more manually. So thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment, or if you have any questions, leave that below. And feel free to subscribe and share with anyone who might be interested in more Mac tutorials. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.